Hey, this is Rob Dukes. How's everybody doing today? This is the Put Up Your Dukes podcast, episode number 7. Today, my fucking guest is Gary fucking Holt, the one and only, the master of guitar, the leader of Exodus, the man who writes thrash the way it's supposed to be written. Anyway, I have this week going on. It's been a fucking weird week. I want to start off this week by thanking you for sending in your emails at rob@putupyourdukespodcast.com. I'm not going to read one today because I want to get right to the interview. I don't want to talk for too long. I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to tell a story, a true story. One time, I was going to England from New York, and I was meeting the band. They were flying from San Francisco, and we were all flying to Heathrow, but I lived in New York, so I was flying there from New York by myself. So I get on the plane. It's the red eye, so it's like 10 o'clock at night. I got a hoodie on, my headphones in, and my hood up, and sunglasses, because I just want to go to sleep, right? I'd stayed up like way too long because I knew I was taking the red eye. And I just wanted to go to sleep. So I go to my seat. I have a window seat, and on the right-hand side of the plane is 2 seats, and then it's 5 seats and 3 seats, and I'm in the 2 seat. And next to me in my seat is a little teeny woman. She must have been about 90. This is definitely one of her last flights. Put my bag up. I get in my seat. I say hello. And then I fucking proceed to go out, right? They do the drink cart thing. I don't do any of that. Then they do the food thing. I don't do any of that. And then they shut down the lights, and they're like, okay, we'll talk to you in the morning. And the lady next to me was doing a crossword with a pencil and an old school piece of paper, and she had it folded, and she was doing her crossword. And the light was on. And it just was annoying me just enough through my sunglasses and everything. It was just annoying me enough that my heart rate went up because I was annoyed now because I can't sleep because of the light. And I'm trying to move so the light's not bothering me, but it just won't. Now I'm aggravated by it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this fucking cunt with this fucking light. And I'm like, in my head, I'm just flipping out for like 30 minutes. It feels like forever, but it was probably like 2 minutes, but it felt like forever. So at one point I just like got up and I looked, and her crossword puzzle was put away and she was sleeping. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, you couldn't turn your fucking light off? And I sat there just fuming, because the button is on the side of the seat, and I'm thinking about like maybe I'll reach over and like turn off her light. And then I thought, man, you know what'll happen? I'll reach over, and then she'll like lean forward. Her tit'll go in my hand. She'll scream, and it'll just be a fucking shit show. So I'm sitting there. I'm just mad, and I'm mad. And I'm like fucking mad. And this goes on. I'm gonna say for 45 minutes, and then I just looked down and went, oh fuck, that's my light, and I clicked my light off, and the whole time, in her head, she's going, this fucking douchebag with his fucking light on, right? Anyway, that's a true story that really happened. Anyway, I watched this movie last night called The Report with Adam Driver. I highly suggest it. It's an excellent film. It's one of those like conspiracy theory movies, but like it's all fucking true. Like this is what happened, and it's just some of the most cunty fucking behavior by human beings, and it makes me really question that this experiment called the human race is not going to make it. Like maybe not in my lifetime, and hopefully not in your kids, but I don't see it making it. with in the last year or so, I've done a deep dive on MK Ultra and JFK, and I've read like so much stuff, right? And it's just disheartening. And then when you see something that was from like 10 years ago or 12 years ago, and how this transpired and like what has happened since, you just realize that like the catastrophic mistakes that are made, the ship doesn't correct itself. It goes this far, and then maybe it corrects this far, and then it goes this far, and then all of a sudden we're on this path that it just seems that the human experiment is probably going to end, and it probably should. I mean, I don't want to be like a doomsayer, but fuck, man. Anyway, moving on. Humans are a virus. As Bill Hicks said, humans are a virus with shoes. That always made me laugh really hard because I knew what he meant. Anyway, today's podcast is brought to you by martyrstore.net. So Cannibal Corpse frontman Jorb's Corpse Grinder Fisher is dropping his debut album February 25th, and you can pre-order it right now at martyrstore.net. The Corpse Grinder self-titled album features 10 brutal tracks and a guest appearance from Eric Rutan from Mortal Angel and Hate Eternal. He's also now the guitarist in Cannibal Corpse. There are signed CDs, wall flags, hoodies, cassettes, all that shit's available. Vinyl will be available in the summer. Vinyl is taking forever to get made for everybody across the board. Use the code Dukes at checkout and save 10% off your order at martyrstore.net. And remember to always respect the neck. Now, Jamie, this is my first sponsor for my podcast, and Jamie did a record with Corpse Grinder, and I heard the first song, and it's fucking killer, man. It is so fucking good. And I actually...
Jamie who?
Oh, Jamie Josta. I'm sorry. Thank you, Melody. I actually texted George. Once I heard it like the midnight drop of it, and I fucking put my headphones in and fucking cranked it, and I texted George. I'm like, dude, this fucking thing is insane, dude. This is really good. So if you're a Cannibal Corpse fan and you're just a heavy music fan, you're really gonna enjoy this stuff, man. It's great. And that being said, I did this conversation with Gary Holt. And it was a great conversation. We had to do it in two parts because right in the middle of it, kind of like a family emergency happened, and we had to bail from it. But then we picked right up right where we left off, and actually it was real smooth. The transitions will do. You'll see me wearing a different shirt, and but Gary looks exactly the same. He's sitting in the same chair, but I forgot and wore a different shirt, and actually did it in a completely different location. So, but that won't take away from the conversation. I tried to have Melody seamlessly edit it all together so it didn't fuck up the conversation. We discussed a lot of things, and unfortunately I assume that all of you have seen the Exodus Shovel-Headed Tour Machine DVD, so I didn't touch on a lot of questions pertaining to the past as the band. It was more like a personal. I talked more about him and his upbringing and his approach to guitar, and we talked about certain things, but a lot of the stuff I left out because I was like, oh, in my dumb head, because I'm an idiot, I fucking figured, oh, they've seen the DVD, they know fucking what's up. But that being said, if you haven't seen the Exodus DVD, you really should go see it. It's excellent. I'm not saying it's excellent because I'm tooting my horn because I made it. But what I did was I filmed it for a bunch of years, and I had all this footage, and it came out good, man. It's funny. You see behind the scenes stuff, man. We tell a bunch of stories. Everybody talks about everybody. There's they talk about the Beria. They talk about the beginning with Paul and losing Paul and Paul passing away. And the DVD really covers the entire spectrum of Exodus for a lot of years. And So I'm going to put a link to the DVD so you can just go there and watch it, man. It's fucking great. So worth your time. And if you're an Exodus fan or Generation Kill fan or just a fan of metal, you're really going to enjoy this DVD. There's extras. There's like, if you actually buy it, there's actually an Easter egg in there where you can click on it with your DVD player and it shows you a whole nother hour and a half of shit that we cut out, that we was like, oh, this is good, but we had to, for time, we had to make it a certain deal. So the Generation Kill album is done. We're making hard CDs. We put in a pre-sale thing, and a bunch of you guys went out and ordered it, man, and I can't thank you enough. Vinyl is going to take a little longer. We're like anywhere from 3 to 5 months out, but we are doing vinyl. We're going to open a merch store on our website soon, and we'll have shirts and all the other shit so you guys can support. And I'm grateful for all of that. We try to come up with really cool designs that you'll be proud to wear, So the album, I took a break from it for like a week, and then I listened to it again from beginning to end without thinking about anything. I just concentrated on it, and I'm really proud of it. It's a really good record, and I hope you guys go out and listen to it. And when it comes out, and I hope you buy it. I hope you don't just download it for free, which I know is the easiest thing to do. But I don't care however you get it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you listen to a record the way I do it. So, like when a single comes out, I'll give you, for instance, the last Tool record came out, and I listened to the single over and over again for like a week, and then I put it away and I didn't listen to it anymore. And then the album came out, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got the album, and I put on my really good headphones, and I lit a cigar, and I listened to it from front to back with a cup of coffee, and I didn't talk to anyone. I'd shut my phone off. I didn't distract myself with anything. And that's the way I listen to records, man. I mean, I still do it today. I listen to Pink Floyd that way, and I listen to Rush that way, and I just, Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, Queen. I just do, that's the way I listen to music. And when Generation Kill wrote this record, we thought about like how would this. I want to make this like a journey. So for the people that do listen to music the way I listen to it, and then there's other people that just want to hear the hit, or they like one song and that's it, and that's fine too. There's no judgment here. So I'm also on Cameo. I've done a few, and they're fucking fun as shit. And they're really cool. I try to make them personal and cool and fun. And all the money I make, I don't keep any of it. It all goes to Hockey Fights Cancer. 100% of it. I'm not taking a dime from it. So if you want to go ahead and get me do a cameo for one of your friends or somebody, man, just the money goes to a good cause. Mark Twain said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And that resonates with me because I try not to compare things, and I try to just like things for what they are, and I don't compare Gary Holt to many other people. Look, I lived on a bus with Gary for 10 fucking years, and I mean, honestly, me and Gary, we butted heads a few times like brothers would. Just over dumb shit. It was never anything fucking important. It was usually something I said on stage that made him mad, or whatever. It was always something dumb. It was never anything. Never important. It never came to blows. It never got more than a couple fucking blah 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 blah, and then fuck you and blah blah blah, and then it was done. Like within an hour, we were fucking hugging and fucking. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer, and we settled our shit. It never lasted a long time. And Gary is a unique human being. And one of those people, and I asked him he was one of those people that just picked up a guitar and it just made sense, and that is the true genius of Gary Holt. And I've talked to other people that were there in the beginning that watched him on the scene in the beginning when he was a teenager in early Exodus days when Kirk was still in the band, and at one point they said he was like fucking Yngwie. Like he just, all of a sudden one day he was playing bar chords, and then 6 months later he was fucking shredding. And when I hear a Gary Holt solo, I know exactly who it is. I mean, I know the difference between Gary, and I know the difference between Lee, and I know the difference between Rick, and I can pick them apart. And Gary is truly one of the most gifted guitar players, if not just in metal, but just in music in general. He is truly a gifted artist, and I hope you enjoy my conversation I had with him, because it was really fun to do, and it was he's a really good guy. So here he is, Mr. Gary Holt.
What's up, buddy?
What are you doing, dude? It's fucking cold today.
Really? I'm sitting outside in a t-shirt.
I noticed. I just turned my fucking heater on, but it smells propane-y. That means my tank's getting low.
Oh, shit.
Mountain living.
Mountain living, man.
It's fucking been cold.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
It snowed us in, dude. We were like trapped.
No shit.
No power for 30 hours, dude. There's people just down the road who still don't have power. It's been like 10 days.
So what did you do? Fucking burn wood for heat?
Burn wood, yep. Charge phones on the in the car.
So do you go out there with your fucking? Are you out there chopping wood like Tom?
I got wood already chopped, but yeah.
All right.
I'm out there mountaining it up.
Because I was talking to Tom. Tom's like
lanterns and fucking.
Yeah, fuck, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. My Jeep was stuck on the hill, the driveway, because you've been here. It's hella steep. And
fuck yeah.
Driving down to check on my mother-in-law and just started sliding off the road, so I just left it there.
Dude, yeah. I'm gonna ask you some questions, but we're just gonna like kind of talk and stuff. But I do have some hard-hitting questions. And the first question, when we toured together, right?
Yeah.
Whose penis did you see more, mine or your own?
I don't know. That's close. Probably mine, because I do urinate.
So,
but I mean, it's probably a close second for sure. I mean, obviously a close second. There's not even a third involved.
I actually told somebody the story of the time. I forget where we were, man. We were in South America somewhere, and like the show went kind of off the rails, and everyone was mad. And you and Lee were fucking arguing, and I just stood in front of you naked and just like, what's the problem, man?
Where was that? I kind of remember.
Maybe Venezuela or something. I was like, what's the problem, man? What are you guys arguing about?
Yeah, it kind of was an icebreaker for sure.
So
I remember that.
So what kind of kid were you, man? Like before metal, before all the shit, before you became the fucking guitar hero that you are, what kind of kid were you? Like, were you a happy kid? Were you, did you live in a nice, did you have brothers and sisters in your family? Was everybody close and was everybody happy, or was it kind of?
Yeah, we're a close family. I was just a nerdy kid with a really bad lisp, and my brothers picked on me mercilessly for it. So, I've never forgiven them. And
right.
I go to my grave making them pay for it. I couldn't make an S. An S came out like a grunt. Like if I said snake, it'd like snake.
No shit.
Yeah. Speech therapy and vengeance goes a long way.
And where was this? Where'd you grow up at? Where'd you grow up?
Where I grew up, San Pablo, California.
Okay.
Barrio. I grew up in the hood in the barrio, like agriculture and all that. And still my dream to this day is to own a lowrider. I've never owned one. Two of my brothers did, but one of these days I'll have my lifted front to rear fucking Riviera. That's what I want.
There you go.
Boat tail.
Or Impala, one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I want a Riviera. Big
okay.
Boat tail.
One. So, what was the first record you bought with your own money?
Partridge Family record.
No shit.
Partridge Family. Yep. Fucking.
I didn't see that coming.
I think I love you.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. I'm 57. So
yeah.
A little kid is Partridge Family, the Osmonds. I had the single. I bought the single for One Bad Apple.
Huh.
That's why I was overjoyed and thrilled to this day. I still have them in my phone. The photos of Donny Osmond wearing the Exodus swag.
Yeah.
at his Vegas residency, you know, because our former lighting designer back in the 80s was working the show, and Johnny wanted it. He like
no
wanted
shit.
to be edgy, you know, because he is a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Donny Osmond. I bought One Bad Apple and Puppy Love, and there he is wearing fucking Exodus Impact is Imminent reissue shirt on stage. Kick ass.
What when you what was the first band you went and saw? Like not including like the on your own as like as a teenager, like when you went, like what was the first one?
I think my first concert was Styx Grand Illusion tour.
How old were you?
I don't remember. I have to look up what year that album came out. I was young. My brother Steve took me. It's also the first time I saw a guy vomit all over himself.
Okay.
We popped up, went up in the seats, you know, because I'm a little kid. You were not going to stand on the floor, general admission and all that. And we're sitting in the seats, and the first band album started, and there's like 10 empty seats between us and one guy sitting there by himself, just leaned back, just shit face. And all of a sudden I look over and he just exorcisting all over himself. And we're like, oh, let's get up, move to a different row. Yeah, it's my first rock and roll experience was also my first experience at like fucking self vomit covering. So, it's rad. I was hooked.
I remember being in Japan. Remember walking down the street in Japan and we saw those guys in the suits and they had the bag around their ears and they were just puking into the bag. Were you with me?
Remember when we went out to dinner in Japan at the end of one of the tours, or maybe this, I don't remember if this was with you or it was Zetro, but we went out to the dinner and someone went to the bathroom and came back and said, dude, there's this guy in a stall, dude, just vomit all over himself.
I was there. That was me.
That was you. And I remember going out and I'm looking over the stall and he gets up like Frankenstein arisen and just, and he comes out and it's a tiny bathroom. He's coming right for me, just pasted in mustard yellow vomit. And I'm like, whoa, I got real thin real quick so he could get by me without smearing me with his barf.
I know we found that amazing that there was vomit all over the streets. It was almost like in Ireland. Remember we went to that pub?
Mardi Gras,
it was fucking crazy. And yeah, man. And everyone dressed real nice, but puking and drunk as shit.
Man, they get off work and I remember we were walking around and I'm like looking at dudes just hammered, just pissing in the middle of the street, and he's peeing all over himself, you know, and it's literally like being in Bourbon Street. Crazy.
Do you remember we saw the homeless? They had everything all neat and under the road. And we were like, wow, look at the homeless people, and they had everything all like uniform and neat, and they weren't dirty. They had no garbage. It was fucking weird, man. Like
super organized homeless people.
Yeah, man, it's fucking weird. Yeah.
I love the place. I can't wait to go back.
So your older brothers turned you on. Were they turning you on to music, or were they what music were they turning you on to?
You know, I grew up on total hard rock, and it was all because I'm the youngest of six, you know, and 5 boys, you know, and 5 of us boys and 1 girl and my sister, and you know, and I grew up listening to their records, you know, and like I remember going on record day to like 6th grade, you know, and I was taking Montrose, you know, and shit. And you know, no one wanted to let me have a turn, you know, like
right.
You know, like we don't want to listen to that, and they're putting on Bay City Rollers or whatever the fuck, you know. And I'm like, I want to listen to this Space Station Number 5, you know, song rocks, you know. And I always got vetoed, and I'm fucking mad about it to this day.
Before you picked up the guitar, did you play in the band like trombone or trumpet or any? Were you been in the band at school?
My only musical instrument experience at all was before actually playing guitar at 17 years old. Was in the 6th grade. I signed up for saxophone, and I showed up late the first day, and the teacher gave me hella shit. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I showed up 5 minutes late, day 1. You know, like. And so I walked out and never came back. I never even got my hands on one. I said, "Fuck you." You
didn't play recorder before that?
I had that, but that was in the classroom, you know.
Yeah.
I still have one lurking around somewhere in the house, in the garage, in a box. You know, probably my original recorder.
It's amazing to me that you were 17 when you picked up your first guitar. That's fucking mind blowing, dude.
Well, you know, I'm the baby of the family, and my parents had a piano in the house, aka a picture frame fucking mounting device, you know, where you put family photos on and no one paid. But they bought that fucking thing for one of my siblings, and there was trumpets around and all that shit, you know, that no one ever stuck to. And my parents, I think they just assumed I wouldn't. You know, it'd be just another thing, you know, guitar. And, you know, until I played guitar, it was all about skateboards and BMX anyway.
Yeah. And so when you did pick up the guitar, I've read stories like where people they just get it. Like someone shows them a few chords and a few scales and they just get it. Were you like that? Or did you?
I just got it. Yeah.
You didn't.
It makes sense to me, you know, like
immediately.
Right
That's
away.
crazy.
I mean, I joined Exodus 6 months later, and so you know.
But I find that amazing about you that like I read that about Eddie Van Halen. He just, you know, he played the drums first, and then him and Alex switched, and he picked up the guitar, and when he put it in his hands, he played it, and he just fucking understood it. And
yeah, I think so.
Most of us aren't like that.
Yeah, back in the early club scene, you know, like when I'd been playing like a year or 2 years, it was like a big deal. Everybody like, man, that dude from Exodus, he's like super sick, and he's only been playing a year and a half. But you know, as good as I got early, I should be way better now. Somewhere along the line, alcohol and drugs took precedent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can play the hell out of a riff, and that's what matters. I don't the rest of it's all bullshit anyway.
That's what Lee told me. Lee told me that he saw you play, and then 6 months later he saw you and you were as good as Yngwie. He was like, dude, he was like a phenom from the start. And I was like, wow, that's fucking heavy. He goes, yeah.
And I should be hella better now because, dude, I'll pull up like videos. Someone will send me a video link to some like full concert thing in 1987. You know, those are rare because not everybody had a camera.
Yeah, yeah.
And like someone sent me a video from us at the Aragon in '87, and I was rewinding and trying to learn my own licks. Like,
wow.
Man, doing shit now. I'm trying to learn shit that I didn't remember that I already knew and better decades ago. You know, like, you know, you forget shit. You get old and senile.
Yeah. I was going to actually, that was one of my questions for later on, but one of my questions, so I'm going to ask you now. So do you ever take the time to learn anything, like any new scales or new, like say you find like a new player, like Buckethead or somebody that's like, oh wow, that riff is crazy. Do you ever take the time to kind of do that stuff?
All the time.
Do you?
All the time.
That's amazing to me.
You know, I don't try. I'm too old and stuck in my ways to sit there and like really dedicate myself to learning to play in a way I don't already. But I will try to like take little bits I learn and see something someone else is doing and try to adapt a variation of it to my style I have already, you know?
Right.
Because I get obsessed with not being as good as I should be. You know, like, there's other guys out there who are like, oh, I'm the best. I'm that. And I'm like, man, I was better. I was a better lead guitar player in the past, you know? I'm dealing with age, you know, my knuckles, my hands are bad, you know, my elbows are horrible, you know, like, do I have physical limitations now, you know, that I didn't have, you know, but I do try to like, you know, learn new shit. Mostly it's all in like the blues rock world, like shredder blues rock guys like Eric Steckel and Zach Wilde and guys who just rip like Yngwie fast blues licks.
Right.
I have no desire to like learn to be like the most badass neoclassical guitar player, but as I get older, I just want to be a better rock guitar player.
Yeah, man. Who's better, Prince or Eric Clapton?
Prince.
Fucking
Eric Clapton's the most overrated fucking guitar player on the planet. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't like to talk shit about anybody because, you know, anybody who plays guitar, especially that's my attitude now with like modern guitar players, I will talk shit about nobody because I want more people to play guitar. I consider my goal in life now is at my age is to inspire people to want to pick up guitars.
Yeah.
You know, and I follow like some kids, you know, just ripping guitar players because they're the next generation and we want people to do that instead of buy turntables, you know. But Eric Clapton, come on. I just never got it. You know, like all of his hits are cover songs, you know, the greatest guitar player on earth. No, not even then he wasn't.
No.
Eric
Page was always better. When I wrote the question,
A Million Years, Richie Blackmore, Alvin Lee,
Jimmy
Carlos
Page.
Santana.
Yeah.
There's 20 million of them. Ronnie Montrose. I mean, you know, you could go back to the 60s. Jeff Beck, you know.
Yeah.
There's 20 million. I never got it. I mean,
when I wrote the question, I laughed to myself because I knew.
Yeah.
Because I don't find him that great either. Anyway.
You know, I mean, but I do like his songs. I love Cream.
The one live. What's that? Wheels. The one live record. I like that one.
You know. So I'm not talking shit. I just never got
I know.
Clapton is God. But to his credit, when Eric Clapton was asked what it's like to be the world's greatest guitar player, he said, I don't know, ask Prince. So
there you go.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I love Tears from Heaven. It's one of my favorite songs. It's beautiful. And it took a tragedy, you know, for him to write it, you know, so I appreciate it. And I mean, I love his tone. I love his playing. I just never got how he was exalted over so many other guitar players. I guess that's what I'm saying. Not that he sucks. I rank him much lower on the pantheon of like classic guitar players from the 60s than others.
Mm-hmm. What was your first guitar?
It was this like weird Montgomery Ward thing Kirk Hammett gave to me when he taught me the first chords. You know, it was like the strings are about a half inch off the neck, you know, total piece of shit. It was Montgomery Ward's, you know, electric guitar.
Yeah.
He had it laying around, and I learned on that. And then I got my first real guitar was this really nice gold top Les Paul copy, but it was part of the big infamous Exodus stolen gear heist. So I lost it when it got recovered and taken from me.
Were your parents and family, when you started to dive into being in bands and playing around the Bay Area, were they supportive of you, or did they want you to go to school and get a job and be regular, or did they think you were just being a kid and you know what I mean? Like
absolutely supportive, you know. I mean, both parents, but my mom would go to shows. My dad went to a couple like bigger ones, you know. He saw me play like, you know, some fucking huge halls, like, you know, the Henry J. Kaiser Convention Center on the Headbangers Ball tour. He was pretty proud.
That was fucking awesome.
I was trying to play for like, you know, several thousand people. But my mom went to like the old Waldorf, you know, when we were playing the first shows. And the first one she went with my brother John. He took her, you know, chaperoned her, and right next to the old Waldorf was the San Francisco Punchline. And my mom and my brother were looking for the place, and they saw some dude in his battle vest or whatever, you know. Back then they were all hand painted, you know. And she goes, "Where's we're looking for the concert place." And he goes, "Oh, you must be talking about the Punchline." No, we're going to see Exodus. So, all right. And he points them in the direction. And then as they're walking away, my mom heard him say, like, "I'd never bring my mom to this place." And then my mom and her best friend would come to the shows, and they were at the old Waldorf that same night.
Wow.
And we come out on stage, and my mom's friend Joanne, like, you know, she goes like, "Yay!" and rings her hand up and puts it down and right into this guy's pitcher of beer, because back then you just bought a pitcher. And I looked up, and this guy's about 6'6", and this lady's got her hand in his beer, and he just smiled. Yeah, I was lucky. I had support.
That's good, man. That's good. So when Kirk left Exodus and you took over, you wrote Bonded from scratch. Like, was there any songs that Kirk was on that, like, or did you say, you know what, Kirk's on, let's start over?
There were riffs that I had written while Kirk was still in the band, and he tried to like adapt them to how, you know, tried to change them a little bit, you know.
Right.
You know, the old, like, I changed a little bit. I'm a co-writer on that. But and that was like 2 riffs, I think, and the rest was written after he left. We never used a Kirk Hammett riff ever until Tempo of the Damned, when we recorded Impaler.
Yeah.
Biggest talent I have, if you want to call it a talent, is my fucking memory.
It is a good one.
I can remember fucking everything. I remember I remember showing him. I can picture it as a film, showing Kirk the riff to Strike of the Beast. And I could picture it as if I'm watching it on a film in the jam room, me in my spot where I played him, and him wanting to change the higher note to a lower note. I remember it all like as if I'm watching a movie of it.
Right.
And I remember all of it, every last bit of it. I remember details from fucking most meaningless shit.
Yeah. I have that a lot too, man. Like I have like I see them like you. I see them like little movies, of us. There were moments, that I remember that were laughing so fucking hard on the bus. We were watching South Park. Me and you. It was like 4 a.m. Everyone was asleep, and we were watching South Park. And it was the one where they're little detectives, and they were trying to get and they were trying to get Butters to jerk off in the cup. And me and you were fucking dying. We were fucking laughing. I'll never forget that.
I still die at South Park. It's the fucking best. But going back to Bonded by Blood, the first 2 songs finished post Kirk Hammett were "Strike of the Beast" and "No Love."
Right.
Pretty good.
Tell me about the solo for "No Love." I love that story. Have you told that one before? The solo for "No Love."
Solo.
Yeah, tell me that one. I love that story.
I was struggling to nail it, wasn't happy, and then Mark Whitaker waved this huge joint, and he said, "One take, and this is yours." And I one take that motherfucker and ran in, put the guitar down, fired that fucker up.
Yeah, we were in Japan and we played "No Love," and you had an ovation on stage in a stand, and you played that, and I got to do the big ring in chord and then hand you the guitar, and we played "No Love," and I'll never. That was one of those moments, huh?
I have that on my phone.
That one. That was one of those moments, and I'm like, God damn, that's one of those little bubbles that I just remember every now and again. So after Bonded was, and I mean, everyone's heard the story. I don't need to go into it because you've told it 1,000 times, but when did the transformation, that slow transformation, do you remember why? Because Bonded was a very dark record as far as lyrically and mood wise, and then within a couple records it started to become more, not almost like tongue-in-cheek, like there was a little more humor added. Was it just the way things went, or was it a conscience?
Well, I mean, the tongue-in-cheek thing, that literally could be pointed to like 2 songs, like
right.
This album, Pleasure of the Flesh, Parasite, that's the only one that's tongue-in-cheek. We devolved away from writing lyrics about raping people's wives and shit, because we were fucking kids. But it all comes down to drugs. we were high all the time. Like, all those bad album covers made perfect sense to us because we were high as fuck.
Right.
And we're like, yeah, man, Fabulous Disaster, bong hit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be us. And like, we're hitting the remote control, watch the TV, bong hit again. And but we're triggering the explosion and we're oblivious, to the whole thing. It's gonna be awesome. And it made perfect sense to us and made no sense to nobody else because they weren't hitting the bong with us.
Right. When did speed enter the equation?
The first album was 87. I guess if I had to pick a date, he joined around 86 or something like that.
Okay. Because I know you're sober now, and I know that that I'm proud of you for it.
Thank you.
The deal.
Great. Great, and I don't miss buzz. I don't miss getting buzzed. I would miss the taste of beer, but there's really great non-alcoholic beers out there now.
Yeah, that's true.
Super good. Like, I'll buy a non-alcohol hazy IPA that tastes as good as a real one. And I drink, 2 of them because I'm not drinking chasing further buzz, drinking for the taste.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And I feel great.
I remember I used to drink them every once in a while on tour just for the camaraderie of it, to, and then I remember one night someone got me a 12-pack of it and they put it in the cooler and everyone got mad because we're fucking drinking non-alcoholic beer.
I remember it was that Grass Pop. I grabbed a beer just randomly out of the cooler and like, oh, this is the worst beer ever. And this is one of those bad alcohol-free beers, like it's really bad.
Anything American is terrible.
Like, Mado Duels look like Pliny the Younger, and I was like, oh, this is the worst fucking beer I ever had. And someone goes, that's one of Rob's beers. Oh,
that motherfucker.
Let me dig around in here for a real one.
I'm going to take you back to the methamphetamine days. What was the low point? What was the worst? Do you remember the worst moment? That made you want to stop?
There's a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, I remember fucking, passing out while driving on the fucking freeway, fucking nodding out because I've been up for fucking 3 days, lucky I'm not fucking dead, shit like that. It's like I talked to Tom about this stuff and then we'll start talking about the drug days and man, we got to be careful. We make this shit sound fun. This is what I always say, dude. Everybody has looked upon someone in their life, whether they're walking down the street and they see some dirty homeless person and goes, ew, that's just human nature. I've shared pipes with people that meet the definition of ew,
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, I wouldn't let that person give me mouth to mouth if I was dying, but yeah, when you're getting high, just give a little pipe wipe on your shirt and keep hitting,
So what was the moment that I know that you were clean when you did Tempo and that Rick and Tom, I've talked to everybody about it and they were not.
Yeah,
they were not. No. Tom said he did about a third of the record high and Rick was not. He was still high doing it, but you had already stopped. And what was the catalyst for you stopping? Did you like for me, when I stopped, I looked in the mirror and I hated what I saw. That's kind of that was the catalyst for that.
We went to Europe, and we smuggled a bunch of drugs over like we would. And we smoked it all in the first 2 days and got really dope sick.
Huh.
Really dope sick. And ended up laying there backstage in Athens, Greece, sleeping on duffel bags in a dressing room and just no more drugs, just right away. And we were there for another 4 weeks.
Right.
And then I started feeling better. Started feeling human again. Then I started digging it. And I came home and I had a huge rock of meth waiting for me in the rehearsal room. I traded it for a ride home because the repo man took my car when I left. I left it for him.
No shit. Yeah, that's a downward spiral that you're just kind of like, oh, all right, I'm gonna ride this out.
Yeah.
And then totally. So at that point, did you say, okay, I'm done? And were you writing Tempo at this time, or were you?
No, I had to get clean first. Once I got clean, then all of a sudden music inspiration came back. Went from being, just I had no inspiration because I was only inspired to get high to all of a sudden falling in love with the guitar again.
Right.
And it was killer from there.
Huh. All right. And what was it like being in the band when your boys weren't, when Tom and Rick were not going along your path? Were you resentful or was it just?
No, I tried to encourage,
yeah.
I remember once, before he had gotten clean, Rick's, I was giving him the gentle fatherly lecture speech, encouragement. And he goes, man, you're really good at this. You should be a drug counselor. And I said, I'm not that good at it because you're still doing drugs. If I was that good at it, it would sink in. And, thankfully, thanks Satan, it's long since sunk in for all my close friends and
man.
Rick and Tom most of all, but it takes some people longer. I never judged. I never pointed fingers.
You didn't.
I never made them feel bad about it.
No.
I just, because I was there right before, the difference is we got back from Europe and I climbed over the road case and pulled out this 8-ball size weight piece of meth like a fucking ping pong ball and traded it for a ride home, and Rick went and got more drugs right away. That's the addiction. The addiction. I just like, I can't do this again, you know?
Yeah. Remember the Megadeth tour when Escobar was singing and I was the tech, and Rick was after like day 2, he had run out and he was clean for the rest of the tour. And he was an amazing person to be around because he was so funny and it was so much fun. And he was so funny and he's so just fun, man. He was just such a good human being. And the moment we got back with the trailer to the fucking studio to unload the trailer, man, he disappeared and came back high. It was a completely different person. And I was the first time I saw it. That was the first time that.
And, you know, and I'm so happy that, you know, Rick is Rick again, and has been for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. Like, you know, when we go out and do, like we have recently a couple of shows where we brought him out, you know, we took him out to Full Terror Assault, the festival out in Cave in Rock, Illinois or wherever. And we're standing out front of the hotel and we're calling up Uber, and Rick goes, "What's this Uber?" And I said, "Rick, I'm gonna blow your mind later with Uber Eats. When you see this, they bring you food."
He lives
like,
in
what's this Uber thing? Yeah.
That's fucking funny, dude.
I was like,
oh,
come on, man.
Yeah.
Uber, right?
I'll never forget, man. I did a podcast. I had Rick on the podcast, and we had a great conversation. And I'll never forget. You were out with Slayer, and Rick had come on tour with us. And the first show, man, we start playing, and all of a sudden I'm singing, and in the first song, and I hear screaming behind me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I turn around, and Rick has this huge grin on his face, and he's looking at his fingers, and he's just going, "Yeah!" He was just having so much fun. He would just yell, and it was just fucking infectious. Man. It was so good.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's what he always does. Are you fucking kidding me?
And on a Rick note, man, the solo on he did the solo on Lunatic Liar Lord, and it's fucking dude. He was. You always said he was one of the best guitar players ever, and
he's one of the best musicians. He's the best musician I ever played with.
Yeah,
you know, he could play. You know, he's a decent piano player. He could funk slap a bass like there's no tomorrow, and shred. You know, he could do all of that. You know, I'm good with a guitar, and I play a bass like a guitar player, and I can't play a piano at all. You know.
Yeah.
And he can play a little bit of drums. He does that one beat that he always does. It's the patented Rick Hammett beat, but he could do it.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went to that bar in Chicago when I was a tech still, and Rick jumped up on the stage with that blues band and started shredding with the dude's guitar?
Yeah, he could always do that shit. He can play on any amp. You know, I'm a slave to tone. If he doesn't sound good, I don't even want to jam because, you know, I'm not going to play that good. Rick can get up on anything. Like,
anything, man. Yeah, dude.
Pull some acoustic guitar that's been in the bottom of a creek for a couple of years and just shred on it, and it'll sound great. You know?
What was the worst show you ever played? The worst show.
Obviously, that show in South America, in Brazil, having their fans throw shit at us because we had to leave to catch our flight before the show. We even had time to. It should have never been booked. You know, we had to start playing before they opened doors. We got to do this. We got to flight, and we ended up playing, and then had to walk out after like 4 songs. And sorry, we got a flight to America for that Megadeth tour.
Right.
Whatever. Got delayed enough to play the show, but we didn't know that. But yeah, that was a low point.
I was part of the Redemption show when we went back to Recife and played there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that was a fun fucking show. Remember going to the beach and they had the "You can't swim" the shark signs? I still have pictures of those.
One of the most dangerous beaches in the world.
So, I remember you guys talked about another show on the Res that was pretty bad.
Yeah, we played that show. It got moved from a venue that got shut down, so they moved it clear out on the reservation, like 50 miles from the original location or whatever. And it was pretty bad. Little 10-year-olds are buying stickers at merch with like all in pennies. It's pretty bad.
Do you remember the show in Corpus Christi where we had the monitors were on picnic tables?
Yeah, there's millions of those.
Fuck.
Remember playing the White House in Michigan?
Oh, yeah, to the owner and his buddy. Yeah. Yeah. My one of my worst memories is Ventura, California, playing that theater to like 20 people, and it held like 1,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah, or the
people
show.
used to after Tempo, people used to say, well, how's that feel to be like the vanguard of the thrash metal renaissance? I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it, pal. I just played for 18 people in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, with Ministry playing 3 doors down and nobody showed up. Yeah. Fuck,
I remember jumping off the front of the stage when the set was over and went straight to the bar.
Yeah, remember?
I just handed my guitar and jumped right off the front and went over and said, "I have a double Goldschlager."
Right, and then Goss ate that fucking habanero fucking extract and puked all over the fucking bus.
He ate my fucking tortillas,
motherfucker. So, what was the best show you ever played? And with Exodus, what was the? I know that like so. I have moments where I remember things. Not only was the band clicking on all cylinders and just we were killing it, but the vibe, the crowd, the whole thing. I have shows that I remember that. And with you, give me a couple of those.
1997 Dynamo Festival, returning with Paul Bailoff. That doesn't get more epic than that. You know, that show was an example of how great things could have been if business had been run properly. You know, our first tour back in Europe with Paul Bailoff at the helm, and the tour was booked by Century Media Records, and it was, we were playing like fucking third on a 10-band festival bill, and selling 10 times more merch than everybody else. We should have made tens and thousands of dollars properly done on that tour, but that show was epic.
Were you guys? Did you play well? Was it like was a machine? Because I know Paul struggled live, but when I've seen that video and Paul was pretty. I don't either it was edited or he was had a great day.
And he had a really good show.
He had a really good show, man, and that So because I've seen other ones where he wasn't so great, but that one he was fucking on.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah,
and, there's a lot of them. I guess it's hard to pick. Maybe I remember the shittier ones better.
Because they're funnier. I mean,
they're funnier. Yeah, playing the Mercado, your first show.
Yeah, that was a good one, man.
Awesome though. That was a fun day. Laughing the whole.
It was a fun day. Yeah, man. I have like that memory because I was sober, so I remember everything. I remember
we
them
all day long, just how ridiculous the situation was. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, but I remember the great shows too. I remember playing Japan and the promoter saying, "Dude, I've never seen the crowd do that before." We had them stage diving. We had them go in a pit. Normally they were. Remember, in between songs they'd be all quiet, and then we made them go insane. Yeah, that was. Yeah, man, we had some good times, dude.
Fuck yeah.
So what was the best Slayer show? New York, Yankee Stadium.
I don't know. It's hard to say. The consistency was really high. So, Oakland Coliseum Arena. That's a hometown where I've seen millions of shows. That was big. Yeah.
What was it like when you're in the studio? You're about to make a new record. Tom had left, and Rick didn't show up. Were you? I imagine the stress was pretty high, but you didn't show it.
No, the stress was high, but what else was I going to do with my life? It's like the only thing I've trained to do. Now I've branched out and I could. I got side hustles now and shit like that. But at the time, what else was I going to do? It was all or nothing, just make it happen, keep this fucking ship afloat, and hopefully things will improve,
Well, so I remember Lee coming in and having to use your guitar. You had these Bernie Rico guitars that were scalloped like a fucking, like 3/4 of a fucking inch is the way I looked at it. Your guitars were impossible to play. I remember like when I tech for you, I was like, Jesus, how do you even, I couldn't even hold a fucking bar chord with it barely, but you were able to just fucking shred. And Lee ended up being, he didn't bring his own guitar for his solos, ended up using your Bernie for that record and doing all his solos with that. So when did you stop using the Scallop fretboard, and during all that record, were you in fear that it was over? You had a fucking new singer that nobody knew of.
Of course, I was in fear. But like I said, what else was I gonna do? You know, it's like it's the only option I got is to like just keep going, you know.
So when you started hearing the tracks in Shovel, did you start to feel better as it was going on?
I knew the songs were killer. I knew the songs were badass, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you blew out your voice on day one. That made me stress a little bit.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Yeah.
But you know, you pulled through it. Your performances are killer.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about me. That's why I'm not doing this. I'm doing it because I was trying to get for your mindset. You know what I mean? You have basically half of the band fucking quit, and you're stuck with you could have went and got like somebody like, you know, Matt Harvey. You could have even brought Steve Esquivel and somebody with a name that could have attached to the record that could have been, but you went with a singer no one fucking heard of before. You brought in Lee from Heathen on the last minute. Just Rick doesn't show. We called him a million times, and he was in the depths of his drug addiction and didn't make it. And then you got to get both staff. You got to get them up to speed in like 3 weeks because we had a deadline to kind of meet. And then, you must have been fucking losing your mind.
You know, no, I was all right. You were the first guy who showed up. That's why you got the gig.
So we were after Shovel. I mean, you know, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, so I mean, you really kind of like we were all like, you know, flying by the seat of our pants at that point. And I guess you're like, well, yeah, I got to get this done, so I'm just gonna get it done. And
well, you know, I wrote the songs. The songs are ready. You know, we had some adversity, but you know, what are we gonna do? Like, all right, we're not gonna make the album now.
Yeah.
You know, everything was going ahead along according to plan. I mean, as well as it could.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, both staff had joined the band. We rehearsed. We worked really hard on the songs, and Rick wasn't around for it. And then we just couldn't even get a hold of him.
Yeah.
And at that point, you were like, all right, we just need him to come in and play some solos. And he kind of just like said he had to step away.
Yeah.
You know? So we called up Lee. Lee, it's time. You waited decades and you got to join the band.
And then, so then we finished the record, and then we hit the road. And were you, at this point, you know, me and you were starting to, you know, we were getting to know each other, and you were you disillusioned with what was happening? Like the places we were playing, the amount of crowds we were bringing in, was that all?
Of course. You know, it's like, I mean, you know, it's not inspirational, you know, to play, you know, in front of nobody, you know, even the nicer venues, you know, and then we play the major cities and it'd be okay, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, to tour America, you got to play all the small places, and as well as New York, Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, you know.
Your kids were teenagers. They were young. They were young, and Lee didn't have kids yet, right? No.
Right around then.
No, we were on tour when he had it. When Joey was our tour manager when Lee had that kid. Remember, he was calling him number 2. You're gonna be number 2.
Yeah,
because he was.
Forever have the world's biggest phobia of feet.
Yeah. So we go out with Hypocrisy for the first Europe tour, and
that was great.
That was fun as shit. And
those
then
were awesome. Packed,
yeah,
you know?
Packed, and then we come back and we go out with Hatebreed. Things start to improve, and we start to and then we were feeling better.
Yeah, traveling more. I mean, playing a packed or sold out show, you know, always feels better than, you know, playing the show on Hopi Land in the reservation. You know, we worked hard and kept going. You know, like, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Back to that again. What else am I gonna do?
You know, what was funny was I was, you know, when I was thinking about like questions, I was like, man, you know, the truth was me and Gary, like we fought a couple times. We had a couple good um blowouts, usually about something I said on stage or you know, it was
dumb hillbilly fucking shit. No offense to hillbillies. You know, rednecks. I am a redneck. You know, look at me. I'm dressed in head to toe camo. I'm a total redneck. You know, I'm born in California. My heart belongs to Oklahoma. You know.
Yeah. It was always me trying to be. I mean, it was me trying to be offensive or being a little bit of punk rock in there. And it was always. But you know, one of the things is we always were able to like immediately drop it, move on, move forward.
Yeah,
go on.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
But it's no big deal.
What was the one song in the entire catalog that you had to actually sit home and practice before tour? Because you was like, "Ooh, this one's going to be a challenge live." Even though you wrote it, like it was one of those. What song was like one of those ones? Even as a just for you personally, not as a band, just for you.
Sometimes it's not even a whole song. It's just like a segue from a part in a song to another, you know, or from solo to riff, you know. Or it could just be one little section, like the intro to Children of a Worthless God always requires some practice.
Huh.
Just a little, you know, it requires a little work. You can't go in cold and play it. You know, got to make sure you have the pattern down.
When
like you know, I mean, I don't practice much. I mean, I didn't practice for the last few years with Slayer. You know, just
right. Just went out and did it.
What's the set? And Carrie will throw in a new one. We're going to do this one. Never done it before. All right, I'll learn it. You know, give me some time, practice. I was always ready to play it before anybody else.
Yeah.
And Carrie, you know, like I was ready to play it from day one, but we'd sound check it a few times and put it in. But I was always ready. I did my homework.
What was the when rehearsing for a tour on any tour, mostly Exodus? What's the song that was the most challenging to get to a point where you were happy with it to put it in the set? What was the hardest song? Not including Death Amphetamine, because we both know that was my fault. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wrote most of them, so they're not that difficult to me.
Oh, that's right.
More than anything, it's just about chops and making sure the right hand speed is up to snuff. And as long as I play enough at home, that's never an issue.
Yeah, you were always an incredible. To me, you were like Malcolm, man. You had this. Your rhythms were. You're an incredible lead player, but your rhythm playing doesn't get talked about enough because it was spot on every night. I could always rely on fucking Gary Holt doing what he was supposed to do. You know,
well, rhythm playing is what it's all about. The lead playing is just all fucking. That's frosting on the cupcake. I'd rather be the batter of the cupcake. You know.
Yeah.
The meat. You know.
What's your out of all the songs you've written? What's your favorite? I know it's like no song. I'm talking about song. I know that it's hard. It's like asking somebody their favorite child out of 4, but I know you have a bunch. But so
I'm forever to this day super proud of No Love. I'm very proud of Delivers the Evil. It's got some really unique things in it. Every verse is in a different key.
Those are my two favorite also.
Even the first, second, and final verse. They're the same riff, but played differently every time in a different key. And people don't do that shit. And that just kind of happened by accident. You know,
right.
That's cool shit. My favorite riff I ever wrote is Impact is Imminent. That riff is insane. I wish I had it back. I'd use it tomorrow. I'd use it yesterday. Fucking great string skipping all over the place. Fucking hard to play. It's killer.
Is it? Okay. Right on. What was the what song when you play it live feels the best for you? Because I'll tell you, I had moments, man, where the world would just shut off and it was just we were just there. We were just playing, and I wasn't thinking about yesterday, and I wasn't thinking about tomorrow, and I was right where in that moment. And there were certain times when that happens, that it's almost like a little bit of fucking magic that just appeared.
I don't know. You know, I mean, I always said it doesn't matter what happens in the middle as long as you start and stop together. The rest of the song sounds killer. Yeah. You know, think about it though. You know, you could play a 7-minute epic that's super perfect, and then your ending chord is all loose and sloppy with two guitar players, a bass player, and a drummer all stopping a fraction apart from each other. It sounds like shit.
Yeah, and that's all they remember.
Together.
And that's all they remember.
Start really good. It's got to end really good, and then no one notices the shit in the middle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I love playing all the songs. There's a lot of them I love playing that I haven't played in decades. I want to bring back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the hardest part. The hardest part is just getting everybody to do the homework, show up, and then rehearse and get it down so it's right.
That's the hardest part.
That is the hardest part.
But the shows we just did at the Fox, Lee did his homework, and we opened up with 2 new songs, and he played them for the first time and played them with conviction. I'm very proud of my Ukrainian.
Good, man. Yeah, right on. Yeah, he was fun, man. We had some good times. I'm trying not to make this like a jerk off fest of whoa, we did this, and I wanted to is your whole career is still going after 30 plus years, right? And you're old.
Yeah.
And don't you find that amazing that you were a teenage kid and you're still doing the same thing, and with
40 years,
with the same amount, and you're doing it with the same amount of passion that you did then?
Not blowing my own horn. I'm just shocked that other people don't have it. I fucking love thrash metal. I love the shit. A fucking killer riff still gets me jazzed up like it did when I was 21. I'll see bands live and like, man, that song is so killer. Why are they just standing there? How can they not be fucking banging that head off? I would. That's me being a fan. I would be going off because that shit is fucking heavy.
What's your new favorite of the new bands out there? You got any favorites?
If I said new bands, you'd probably correct me that they're not so new anymore. I've always said in the past, Municipal Waste, but they're old fucks like us now.
Yeah. Yeah, no. that's what I meant.
Old, but I'll tell Ryan and Tony they're getting there.
Yeah.
They're veterans now. They're not new, but you have bands like Lost Society or Super Killer, and then like Hellfire from the Bay Area or badass, Haunt or Super Killer. They're both are kicking ass and not kicking ass for girls. They're kicking ass.
Right.
Ass. Huh. And, there's a million of them. But, at the same time, just give me some UFO records and I'm cool.
Yeah, I found I was driving around. I was listening to Sad Wings of Destiny in my car like a couple months ago. And it dawned on me. I was like, oh, this is just the music I'm going to listen to for the rest of my life because this is what I enjoy.
Yeah. Give me Stained Class and nothing else and put me on a desert island. I'm fine. Give me Rainbow Rising on that desert island and I'm totally cool. UFO, Strangers in the Night. Just give me the live album. It's got a little bit of everything. Cool.
You want to hear what a fucking loser I am? I thought it was Stained Glass for my whole life until like a month ago.
You shitting me.
I swear to God. I had the record. I had the
Stained Glass.
I thought it was Stained Glass the whole time. I don't feel good about having to be. I don't feel
good about that.
I don't feel good about it. I feel you're a stupid person, and
Lisa will just clown on you for that because it's her favorite band. She got this silver leather jacket and she's making it her Priest tribute jacket. And she's like scouring the internet for a patch for every album. A couple of them are hard to find,
Yeah. Huh.
She's even included like the Ripper Owens era. And I'm like, hats off to you. You're like not leaving shit out because it's not Halford and, or whatever. She's chronological, all the records.
All right.
Patching that thing up.
Yeah. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands. The fact that I always thought that was Stained Glass makes me ashamed of myself. It really does.
They're the greatest metal band of all time.
Oh, yeah. Did I hear you correctly that they're going out with one guitarist?
I just read that today. I was like, wow. Andy's, Andy's, guess he wants to get back into production, but, I'm going to text him and tell him he's a fool. And and then I'm going to text Rob and say, I got some leathers. That's what Lisa said. You better call.
That would be poignant if you did. So, I mean, I had mostly, all the questions that I ever had for Gary Holt we pretty much answered in the DVD we did. So like that one was very deep. I asked all the questions I ever want to know as far as the past and all that. On the new record, man, I mean, Lunatic Liar Lord that song's fucking insane, dude. I mean,
that was a task, recording that one. But you know, it came out so killer, and like we just kept adding the layers and layers, you know. And you know, I originally just had 2 guitar solos, 2 long ones, and let's break it down and like get Rick in there and get Cragen in there and shorten it up, and it came out so cool.
Yeah, dude, that song is epic. Like that's the one on the new record, man. That song jumped out as me. It's like, wow, this one's fucking. They worked their ass off on this because I've been there, so I know the process. And I was like, this one they fucking worked on. So
you know, the process was super organic. Just Tom and I jammed, you know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a million riffs. I still got a million riffs that we didn't use because I'm too lazy to like listen to them all. But you know, we just fucking went in. I'd sent him some stuff. Some of it finished, some of it not.
Right.
Lunatic Liar Lord was like finished in my head, like basically the whole thing. It's a lot to rehearse, you know.
Right.
A lot of shit going on.
Huh. You think you'd be able to pull that off live if Rick showed up?
Yeah. I mean, Tom and I jammed it every day at rehearsals, top to start to finish, you know.
All right. Cool.
It's a workout.
Yeah. You've had an awesome career with not only Exodus, you got to, you know, you go out with Slayer and take over for Jeff and finish out that band's career, which was, you know, an amazing feat in itself. And then to be able to come home and now go back out on the road with Exodus and
eventually.
Eventually, probably 20, I'm going to say 2026. You'll be 64 years old.
Yeah, I'll be about that old. I mean, dude, like when we returned home from Europe at the start of the pandemic, between then and the next show we played, I was 2 years older. You know, it wasn't full 2 years, but you know, because my birthday's in May and we came home March. But you know, like I was on the calendar on my identification. I was 2 years older, gig to the next gig.
Yeah, I mean, it just
happened.
Yeah,
if I'm 1 year older, gig to gig, that means there was a gig before my birthday and one somewhere close after. Just add a birthday between them. But no, you know, fucking a lot of time went by.
It's crazy because I felt bad for all the crew people and the tour managers and the merch people.
Yeah,
and
everybody's trying to hustle and figure out a way to stay afloat.
Yeah, man. But anyway. Dude, I want to thank you for doing this. Hopefully I'm going to get back to California soon and surprise you and show you your house without telling you.
Yeah, you got to get up here during the summer when they have the flat track motorcycle races here in Auburn.
Anyway, man, well, hopefully you feel better. Tell Lucy I said hi, and I'll talk to you soon, buddy.